record it, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
Good Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? You know what time it is. It's time to talk some sports. And it is the TFG Sports Show, the best 30-minute sports talk show on social media. I am your host, the sports guy, Kendrick. Happy Saturday a.m. to you. It's a little cloudy and dreary here in Tyler, Texas. But you know what? We're going to brighten up your day with two brothers that's going to talk some NFL draft and some other topics. And we're going to get to that. But first of all, we got to do get some things happening. Make sure you come in. Make sure you like and share the broadcast. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's TFG Sports Media on YouTube, and like and follow TFG Sports Media on Facebook. And do me a solid, slide on over to YouTube and subscribe to my personal YouTube channel. That's Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SportzHustle. Make sure you do that, and make sure you also like and follow Kendrick Sports Hustle on Facebook, and also follow me on my personal Facebook page, Kendrick Roland Henderson. I am now a digital creator. I'm at like 2,300 followers. So make sure, if you haven't, follow me on my Facebook page. I'll follow you back, and also follow me on Instagram at Kendrick 1969. That's KDRICK 1969, and also on TikTok. That's Kendrick Henderson 51. So I got all that out the way, and we're not going to prolong the time, because my man, the sports director extraordinaire, I'm going to bring him in here. Give me just a second. You know how it is with these computers. There he is, my man, KLTV sports director, Michael Coleman, my brother from another mother. How you doing, Mike?
Man, I'm doing all right. I feel so good about these kids that got drafted. I mean, it's just the joy you get to seeing them reach their dream, and I hope they take advantage of it to the fullest extent.
That's right. That's right. And we're going to talk about that. You know what? Let's skip all the preliminaries. Let's go ahead and get into the NFL Draft 2023 recap. I'm going to actually scroll the first round picks down there in the ticker where you can see those. Michael, let's start. Where were you at, and who were you following last night?
Last night I was here in Tyler at the Majesty Event Center, which is a really cool place when you lay it all out. And DeMarvion Overshown's family had the watch party there. Really nice turnout. Hey, man, the place was jumping so much, I almost forgot why I was there. The music, the food, and all that, and the dancing. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm working here. But that's where I was at last night. And to see him get that call, and for it to be with the Cowboys, that was a cherry on the top.
Talk about that. He went in the third, if I'm not correct. He went in the third round. He was like,
he went in the third round, the 90th pick. And I had him live in my 6 o'clock show from there. And if he was sweating bullets, he didn't show it. He was really low key. I've only been around. This is my second time being around him. Real quick backstory. I met him last July. My wife and I were at the IHOP, and we were sitting down waiting to get a table, and these two big old dudes, go pay the check. And one of them, and I don't know who he is. He leaves, and turned out to be his father, was paying the tab, but the father was wearing a UT jacket. And I said, man, I know either you played on Sundays or you about to play on Sundays. And he said, oh no, that's my son. He plays at UT. So I grabbed my phone, Kendrick, and caught him up in the parking lot. I ambushed him. Impromptu interview on the spot. And because he was a projected Big 12, all Big 12 linebacker, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Football season was about to begin for college. And we had a nice little conversation. I turned around and used it in my show a day or two later. And I said, man, I'm going to stay in touch with you, and I'm going to be at your place when you get drafted. So we laughed about that. So when I saw him again for the first time Friday, that was while they were preparing for the big setup. And a lady said, hey, because she knew I was going to do my show there. She said, he's over there right now. So I walked over there, and he recognized me. He remembered meeting me, and I played for him the interview. He had never seen the interview. And I'm like, so last time I met you, or when I first met you, you were on your way to becoming an all Big 12 linebacker. And now I'm seeing you for the second time since then. Now you're about to be an NFL draft prospect. And so we chuckled about that. And he was really cool. I mean, he was dancing and having a good time during the fiesta, if you will. And just a lot of love came out for him, a lot of warmth and everything. And when I had him in my sportscast, man, I made it a point of doing every time I talked about him the last couple of weeks, I made sure my viewers knew this guy's already graduated, you know. And in my live shot, I opened up that way. I said, we're going to talk football, but I want the people to know that you graduated back in December. I said, I think it's important that they know you're more than just an athlete, more than just a football player. They need to know that you're about the books also. So that's how I started that off. And he was appreciative of that. And he was very proud of that. He graduated. He got that paper. Sometimes they don't get the paper till, later on. And sometimes they don't get it at all. And I think it's just the principle of the thing. And when a young man like him graduates early, that shows you the commitment and the investment he has in himself. And it tells you the kind of player you're going to get, whoever it is that drafts you. So the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, they're going to be just fine. Of course, you probably know he had a previous relationship with Jerry's grandson. As an intern. My guy. I just found that out. So all the stars aligned. He wasn't sweating. His mom was sweating. She even said, I kept checking my phone thinking they're going to call me. So, it was just a cool thing to see what happened last night. And we've got a few guys later on today that could be going as well. There's still some East Texas pipeline, I won't say leftovers, pipeline talent still remaining.
Yeah, and then those that's joining us, Terrence, thank you for joining us, brother. Appreciate you. This is DeMarvion Overshawn. He's an East Texas kid from Arp, Texas, which is right outside Tyler, Texas, for those that may not know. And he was chosen by the Dallas Cowboys in the 3rd round on yesterday, the 90th overall. And he went to Arp High School, and he's a Texas Longhorn. So congratulations to DeMarvion Overshawn and his whole family. Like you said, Mike, this is a big deal for all these young men to be able to put in the blood, sweat, and tears that they've put in since they was probably playing Pee Wee football to finally get a shot, of living a dream. So you definitely, wish these young brothers the best, all of them, and the families too, because they didn't get there by themselves. They had some support from their families and everything. So,
and now comes the new level of pressure. They already dealt with the pressure of getting there. Now there's a new level of pressure. And I don't mean making the team. There's the new level of pressure of being able to say no to people. They're going to come up to you and try to, hey, remember when can you loan, whatever the case might be. So hopefully he learns that real fast. And if it ain't mama, if it ain't daddy, I'm going to pick who else it could be, but they definitely on top of the list.
All right, we're gonna stay in East Texas. We're gonna get to the draft. Let's go ahead and talk about the Las Vegas Raiders pick. They picked the young man by the name of Tyree Wilson, defensive end out of Texas Tech. Another East Texas young man out of West Rusk High School. And wow, a lot of draft people had him going really high, and he went number 7. What's your thoughts, Mike, on Tyree Wilson?
Well, again, a guy that I haven't even met him. I got a call. A lot of these guys who are getting drafted today or this weekend, I wasn't back in East Texas yet because they graduated in 18 or 17. So the principal called me last week and said, hey, we got a guy that's going to probably go in the 1st round. Thought I'd bring it to your attention. That's the magic of the red zone. And so, so I said, oh yeah, I'm there. So I did a little pre-draft interview with him, the principal who also was on the coaching staff at the time that he played there, Wilson, and the head coach who's no longer coaching, but he came back and interviewed him as well. And it's funny because as soon as he gave me that phone call and I hung up, somebody's mock draft was on there, and they had him at number 8 to Atlanta. And I see if I hadn't got that phone call out, I probably would have eventually discovered it. But at that time, it's like it was all karma. Boom. It's okay. Yeah, this dude here, we're going to have a 1st rounder in all likelihood. And so they had a big watch party Thursday night. And so went there. That was at the gymnasium. Wish there was a better turnout. There's probably like 600 people there, which is not really that bad at all. A lot of the students, a lot of the cats that go to school there, they were all there, and some grown-ups and whatnot. And when they finally pulled the trigger, that place was pandemonium. And got a chance to talk to folks, and then talk to a lady, her brother, and you remember this guy's name. You remember what's his name? Dudley. Ricky Dudley. Remember Ricky Dudley?
Ricky Dudley out of Henderson, Texas. Yes.
Right. Well, see, his sister works at West Rusk. And so when I'm talking to her, she says, my brother played for the Oakland Raiders, and now I got a kid that I taught that's going to be playing for the. She kept saying Oakland. I told her, if you go to Oakland, you won't see a Raiders game, but if you go to Vegas, you're in good shape. But So that was thrilling for her. Some guy goes, well, I'm not a Raiders fan. I'm a Tyree Wilson fan, so I'll wear his jersey. That, again, the love for that guy. In the population of New London, ain't but 958 people.
Okay, I didn't even think it was that many.
It's 958. And another thing about Mr. Wilson, he's been a Raider all of his life.
That's right, the West Raiders.
West Rusk Raiders, Texas Tech, and now where he's headed.
Wow, so that's crazy.
Oh, okay. How crazy. See, those are the stories, you in the business, those are the stories we look for. He got drafted, but look at the little nuggets underneath. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, that's just, you can't even try to plan something like that. So I'm looking forward to meeting him. We have a sister station in Vegas that sent me some sound that I'll be using this weekend. In fact, my weekend show's pretty much going to be a recap of what's going on with these young guys who are going on. And so now when I go to Cowboys training camp, I know in advance. Now, we had a young guy last year that was at camp. He didn't make the team, but it was a good story. And he was a Tyler High School kid. At Smith's the last name, I think. He went to Houston, U of H.
Yeah, I know who I remember.
I'm talking about. He didn't stick. DeMarvion's going to stick. Yeah. So we already know going out there, we already got at least 2 or 3 stories from him, because that's going to be the big hook for us to engage our viewers in. So Wilson, and then of course Kendra Miller, Mount Enterprise, went to TCU.
Mount Enterprise,
really a splash of a running back. The guy can play.
The Saints got him. They picked him. Right?
Saints got him, and I got a feeling they're going to use him the way they used Kamara. Kamara's kind of banged up and whatnot. He's not his old self again, or his old self. But there were 3 East Texans drafted in 90 picks of the NFL draft. That's really, really good, man.
And then let me tell the viewers where these little towns are. Now, Tyler, Texas is basically a little over 100 miles east of Dallas. Now, Art, where my man DeMarvion Overshawn is from, is about 20 minutes outside of Tyler. West Rusk, where my man, the Raider, Tyree Wilson, that's about 20 miles outside of Tyler as well. And Mount Enterprise is more deeper East Texas, which is closer to Nacogdoches. That's probably roughly about an hour from Tyler, Texas. So those are for those that watch this. If you wonder where these young men from and where it's located, that's where it is. It's East Texas, and they're kind of closer to Tyler, Texas. I'm happy for those young.
Well, and you stated that really cool, because this is a natural pipeline to the National Football League. Make no bones about it. I mean, they got cats that they got players falling out of trees running 4.4s and 4.2s. That's just the way it is out here. And how about this little setup? And I thought about this. 1978, Earl Campbell, first rounder. Okay. 2007, Adrian Peterson, first rounder. 2013, Lane Johnson, first rounder. 2017, Patrick Mahomes, first rounder. And then a few nights ago, Tyree Wilson, a first rounder, all within like a 60-mile radius of one, if that, around one another. For sure, at least 45 miles, but they're not like far and beyond one another. They're all in that same little circle, man. And, and then of course we got guys, Tyus Bowser from your alma mater, Tyler High School, Greg Ward playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, people will be hard pressed to talk about the success of their region when it comes to the NFL. I'm pretty sure the Pennsylvanias and the New Yorks and the Californias maybe, but I really doubt it. It's just, I'm not talking about all of Texas. We're just talking about East Texas.
Exactly. Right. So yeah, and we call it Beast Texas for those
Yes.
who's watching it. They call it Beast Texas because there's some good. There's some First of all, Texas is a football state anyway, but East Texas, it's been some cats come out of here that has had some pretty good careers, college and pro. Mike, let's move to the Cowboys pick. They picked number 26, and I think this shocked a lot of people. I know the talk was that they were maybe thinking about getting that tight end from Notre Dame, but they went with Mozzie Smith, defensive tackle out of Michigan. What have you heard? What's your thoughts on the Cowboys?
Well, I did hear that's why Buffalo moved up and got the tight end that they got to keep the Cowboys from getting him. Because, the Cowboys had 26 pick.
Right.
And who was in front of them? I don't know who was 25.
The Giants were, but then Buffalo and the Giants swapped, and Buffalo ended up taking that tight end.
So the Cowboys got buffaloed, if you will.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
And and that's the plot and that's strategy. And I even saw a report that they said, "Oh yeah, that was deliberate. We did not want that kid going to the University of or going to Cowboys." But I kind of like the tight ends they got already on roster. The Ferguson kid. And I know Dalton Schultz. That's another thing. This guy's name was Dalton Kincaid. The other Dalton is with the Houston Texans for 1 year. We'll see what happens there. I don't know why. From what I understand, they gave him they offered him a pretty good bag. The Cowboys did, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not going to do that." So, and maybe he don't trust Dak. I don't know. I haven't heard him say that, but he's not going to start a firestorm by saying it. But you never know, man. But no, and they got so that's why they went with Maisie, Hold up, excuse me, guys.
No, you good.
That's why they went with Maisie out of Michigan. If he gets down, we'll be calling him Maisie O. If he comes down and take care of, what I'm saying?
Right.
And then of course we just talked about DeMarvion that they got. Is that the only two picks they got right now?
I think so. The draft actually just kicked off about 11 o'clock. So those are only two picks that I know of. So
I think you're right. I think you're right.
They got 7 picks all together. So they got a bunch of picks coming up.
Well, and you know what? This is when you really earn your money as a scout, as a GM, as a person of an evaluator of talent. First round's easy for the most part. I got a hot shot quarterback who's won the Heisman. I got a Will Anderson at Alabama. I'm gonna pick this guy. Okay, you good in the first round. What you gonna do? And I've always said the premium players in the NFL. It's like round 1, numbers 1 through 12, maybe 13. And
yeah, you good. They calling you, huh, Mike? They calling you. but Mike, yeah,
there we are. Yeah, 1 through 12, it's easy to judge and evaluate the talent. But pretty much after that, you're rolling the dice. I mean, for instance, the quarterback from Kentucky.
He dropped. Will Levis. I was going to ask
first
you
of all,
that.
I don't even know why he rose. He rose so quickly during the last few weeks of the draft. Right. I'm like, well, and that reminded me of Trubisky. He rose the last few weeks prior to the draft and became the first quarterback taken in that Mahomes Deshaun Watson draft, 17. And he's on his third team at least right now. And I think what happens is these draft experts, these analysts, they kind of hype a guy, hype a player, and he gets his hopes all high. His agent, dude, you're going. Because I heard he had told people that he was told he was going to be the number 1 pick overall.
Well, but that's how it go, Mike. They be getting this information from all over the place, supposedly, and none of it's confirmed. It's just
it's a smoke screen, and it works for. Yeah. And the only person I'm not feeling sorry for the guy because just wait your turn, you'll get there. And he went to the Titans. Right. Now let's see what you do. Right. Let's see what you do. So I thought the Cowboys had a good draft, or so far. But I tell you who I'm really impressed with, and I think it's a sign of things to come. I like what the Houston Texans did. I've never given props to the Houston Texans.
You segued in where I was going. Go
Okay.
ahead. I was going to ask you what you thought about the Texans. Those, they did some willing and dealing, man. What you think about
2-3, 2-3,
yeah.
and two of them, and the two of the easily top 5, top 10 players in the draft. They got
right,
and Will Anderson. For those of you who aren't aware of what they did, they swapped. They had the 12th pick after they drafted number 2 to get the Ohio State kid.
Yep,
and then they're like, well, let's roll the dice. And the Cardinals are like, we can do this. And, and it was a great move because Anderson was not going to be there at 12.
No, he wasn't.
He was not going to be there at 12.
Nope.
And so to go back to back like that. I think I can't wait to see DeMeco Ryan and what he's able to do. And I know they gave him a long-term contract, and I hope they let him be who he is. I hope they let him do why they hired him to come over. They drafted a really smooth receiver too. They're getting some new weapons. This is a new look for the Texans. So I'm really excited and anxious to see what they do.
Yeah, me too. And then we're gonna move on to the other big story that happened before the draft, Aaron Rodgers. But I found this little nugget, Mike, about the number 2 picks, the history of those that go number 2. Of all the top 5 picks, number 2 is the most cursed, according to this.
Really?
Yes, it says number 1 has a 36% bust rate, and I don't like the word bust. I'm going to start saying failed potential.
Right.
That's my new word.
Right.
Number 1 has a 36% rate of failed potential. Over the last 25 years, the number 3 and number 4 picks, a 44% failed potential rate over the last, again, 25 years. And the number 5, 36% failed potential rate over the last 25 years. But the number 2 pick, the failed potential rate is 56% over the last 25 years.
Wow.
And the criteria, according to this article, is you're considered failed potential if you don't make at least one All-Pro, have one All-Pro season, or win 2 Super Bowls as the number 2 pick. Now, here's some of the past number 2 picks. Mitch Trubisky, who you just talked about. Luke Jokel, I think he's the offensive lineman for Jacksonville. Robert Griffin III, RG3, I wouldn't call him a fail.
Nah.
I wouldn't, but they threw him in there.
Right.
Ryan Leaf. Obviously, he fits the criteria. Jason Smith. I can't remember who Jason Smith is. Robert Gallery. I remember him. The Oakland Raiders picked him. He's an offensive tackle. And my Packers, this is probably one of the biggest ones outside of Ryan Leaf is Tony Mandarich.
Oh, yeah. Man, Mandarich. Oh, my God. Everybody knows about Mandarich.
So I thought that was an interesting take. And the reason why I said that, the Texans, guess who they picked at number 2? Quarterback C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State.
Yes, sir.
To be honest, Ohio State quarterbacks hadn't had a real good luck in the NFL making that transition.
Oh no, there
hadn't been many.
When you toss in the Ohio State quarterback situation, the most remembered quarterback from Ohio State that I can think of is Art Schlichter, and that's because he was gambling.
Right.
And I think on the flip side, I don't know if you have numbers for this, but on the flip side, probably the higher probability is the point I was making is who you find in those middle rounds. That those are the guys that are the core of the NFL. Everybody can't be a first rounder, but you can be a third, or you can be a fourth rounder, you can be a third rounder and make something happen. And so I think, and the way the game is played today, you play your cards right, you might not have to play 15 years unless you just still want to play it. I mean, I think cats are getting their money, get one more contract. Tyreek Hill, perfect example. Hey, now we'll see if he lives up to that, because 2 years is a long way away right now. Right. But like he said, hey, when my contract's over, I'm getting out of football. So because they're able to. They're
making that kind of Yeah, speaking of money, we got to talk about the guy from Lambeau Field. Well, no longer with Lambeau Field. Aaron Rodgers. It finally happened. The Packers finally traded him to the Jets. I'm glad this is over, because I had got sick and tired of that circus that was happening, in my opinion, up in Green Bay. The Packers trade Rodgers earlier in the week. And they got some picks. They got basically them and the Jets swapped their first round picks. Packers ended up going at, I believe, 13, and the Jets at 15. They got some 5th round pick this year and a 6th round pick, and they got a conditional 1st round pick in 2024 if Aaron Rodgers plays more than 65% of the snaps, which I'm sure he will, barring any injury. And he is expected to wear number 8 and not 12 because I think the Jets have retired 12, guess because Broadway Joe was the wearer of that. Mike, what do you think about this trade between the Packers and the Jets? Who won this trade in your opinion?
That's a really good question. A hard question to answer, really. I think the Jets won because they have a proven commodity. And you were talking about the Joe Namath jersey, because Joe's like, where my jersey number? And to kudos to Aaron Rodgers, like, nah, Joe Namath's a Hall of Famer. That, I don't want to even go there. I remember when Aaron Rodgers had to wait to get drafted,
Right,
and then
exactly.
then he had to wait to be able to play. So I
3
think
years behind,
So I kind of think all this stuff he's done with them is his way, is payback, consciously or I don't know if it's plotted or anything, but now that he's become the quarterback that he is, he's been able to play those games because they allowed him to play those kind of games. Now let's see what happens in New York. I mean, I know Nathaniel Hackett, who got fired from Denver as the head guy, is with the Jets, and there ain't no bones about it. Hackett's there. I'm going to go there. I almost thought this thing wasn't going to be pulled off, and I thought somebody else was going to come in and swoop it up because, like, well, they sure are dragging their feet about this. But he's there. It looks good he looks good in that New York jersey, and I think he's going to want to prove to people. Well, first of all, there's nothing for him to prove. A new environment.
I think he got to win another Super Bowl, Mike. I think he got to win another Super Bowl, bro. I do.
You think so? Oh, well, no. Well, no, that he has to do.
Oh, okay.
No, that he has to do. I mean, you make a big splash like this, it ain't going to New York just to enhance your credentials as a regular season quarterback. I think he'll be spirited. He's got new talent to work with him, and he's going to show up in the off season. So far, and that's still dark places, but he's going to be okay.
Yeah. So again, now as far as the money wise, the Jets are pretty much picking up the majority of his deal. The remainder of his contract includes a $59.465 million guaranteed in salary and bonus this season. I believe they converted that to a bonus, what I was reading. So and so they're gonna be all right. He's not hurting the cap for the Jets.
No,
I think he's only going to make like $1.35 million in salary this year. But he's getting all that $59 million in a bonus. So the Jets have pretty much put themselves in a pretty good position. He has Alan Lazard, who signed with the Jets a couple of weeks ago. Again, like you said, offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett is there, and the Jets got a pretty damn good defense. Now here's the question: they're in that AFC East division with Buffalo and Miami and New England. Actually, I think that he's probably going to a little bit tougher division than he had to deal with in the NFC North.
Oh,
in my opinion.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Up and coming Miami. I say up and coming. Let me tell you something. If Tua stays healthy, he's dangerous. He is dangerous, and he's a warrior. I like his style, and I'm rooting for him. And then you got the Patriots. I don't know about the Patriots. In fact, the cornerback that they drafted, he was kind of like, oh well, okay, I guess. So he's like, all right. So that's kind of different. You don't see that, And then who's the other AFC East team we haven't talked about? Who we missing?
We said Buffalo, Miami, and we said who was the other one? Yeah, we missing one. Buffalo.
We're missing one.
Oh, New England. No. We talked about
we got them all. We got them all.
Buffalo, Miami, and New England.
No, I'm looking for a surge. They win 6 games last year.
Who? Which one?
The Jets.
The Jets. Did they?
Yeah.
I think it was like 6. I think they went 6-11. I think
they went 6-11 with what they had. Rodgers will get you 5 more games. He'll get you 5 more wins. You know, I know every season's different, but it's going. He's a big storyline. Of course, our boy Lamar down there in Baltimore doing his thing.
Yeah, he finally got his money. Speaking of which, if you didn't know, Lamar finally got his money. 5 years, $260 million, $52 million average salary per year. That makes him the highest paid NFL player now.
And with his mom, every day is Mother's Day because everybody was they weren't bashing mom. They're just bashing the concept of her not being a conventional negotiator or whatever. I don't know what goes into negotiating, but all I know is that 3% fee mama gets, that's $7.8 million.
Yeah. And you know, that's smart. Now that I think about it, you know, I thought he was really rolling the dice not having the agent, because the thing is the Ravens were able to put stuff out there and kind of make it seem like he's being the greedy or the bad guy, where he couldn't have an agent that could buffer that. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought that was going against him. But at the end of the day, he got his money, $185 million in guaranteed money. But I think he should really help. He should take Jalen Hurts out for dinner, because Jalen Hurts' deal is really the reason why this deal got done. Now, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So
that's true.
I think he owes Jalen Hurts a little bit of that $185 million in guaranteed.
And who both have females handling their deals.
That's it. Yes. Awesome. So we'll see what happens with that. Now we're gonna move on to another topic, Mike. This is becoming a and it's controversy that's going on. I it's somewhat of a controversy. Did you hear about what happened with Coach Prime and one of his players that was transferring out? I don't know if you heard, but
practice game film or film.
Yeah, they said that they wouldn't release the game film.
But you know what? From what I read was he don't have, from what I understand, he don't have much game film, and
he didn't have much. He didn't have any.
He didn't have much game film, and nobody gets, as one guy goes, nobody gets judged off of practice. Let's do the Allen Iverson thing, right? This guy's like, listen, I've been a videographer for sports teams for a long time at the college level. And his point was, no one's ever requested practice video. Now, maybe he didn't have enough game video, but what are you going to tell him practice? So, hey, you know what? Deion's been doing it his own way. I'm going to let him do it, because I know he got this transfer portal coming in, because all these headlines, all these guys are leaving. Yeah, but he got people coming in.
Yeah,
you know, so I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem.
Here's the deal. The transfer portal has changed college athletics landscape anyway. But here's the deal, Coach Prime. But so here, let me say this real quick. When Coach Prime took over in December, he said that he was bringing his luggage with him. He said he was bringing Louis. For those who don't know, Louis is Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton.
I know that sounds a little harsh to tell 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds that you may not have a spot on my roster, but that's athletics, man. That's
and you know what? In college athletics, it's better than lying to them. That's why there is a transfer portal, because players have been lied to.
Right. Yeah.
For a perfect example, it was the coaches for Wilson. Tyree Wilson, we just talked about, the draft pick for the Raiders out of West Rusk. His coaches told me that when he went to Texas A&M, that's where he was at first, he was advised, don't go there. I know they're telling you in the 3-4, you're the 4-3, you're going to be on the end, but they're going to do a 3-4. But they told him, we're not going to do a 3-4 defense. And what they do? A 3-4 defense. And that's why he transferred to Texas Tech.
Yeah. So, and so my thing is, I don't have let me just read what's going on here so people kind of get an idea. Now, a total of 51 Colorado players have entered the transfer portal since December, 46 since Coach Prime took over on December 2nd. Now, one of the leading receivers from last year's team, he entered on this past Monday after the spring practice game on that Saturday. Now, a few players did speak with The Athletic and said that there was a line drawn between the new players, those that followed Coach Prime, and players that were returning Buffaloes. Again, so far, Buffaloes have accepted 29 incoming transfers, and players have until April 30th to enter the transfer portal, which is tomorrow, and teams can continue to add players to their roster after the deadline. So a couple of players spoke to The Athletic and said that Coach Prime wasn't really spending, little to no time coaching or speaking with them, yada yada yada. So I don't know. There's some hurt feelings, but it is what it is.
Well, you know what? You went 1-11 last year.
Yeah.
1-11 last year. Yeah. You can't help me. He saw the tape. Maybe not. He said, "Yeah, dude, I know you ain't playing for me."
Yeah, man. So I seen a lot of comments feeling like they saying, "Well, Deion is being Deion, this and that." I ain't got a problem with the transfer portals at all colleges. Just because don't think it ain't players been leaving other colleges just as much as they've been leaving Colorado. Coaches are recruiting players from the transfer portal. And
yes, sir.
Right. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm gonna say real quick. When Mike Leach died, when he died at Mississippi State, I believe. Within 3 days, I was reading articles about coaches trying to poach that team.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So all the coaches do it. Let's Coach Prime is just a little bit more flamboyant. But there's one thing that I will always remember. One of the most profound statements that I remember. Former Cowboys coach Bill Parcells said at a training camp in San Antonio. He said that if you're gonna make me the chef, at least let me buy the groceries. So, and what he's saying is, if you're gonna make me the head coach, this is what Coach Prime's saying. And if I don't have any results, you're gonna fire me. So at least if I'm gonna get fired, let me get fired with the young men I want to bring in. And it makes a whole lot of sense to me.
And the thing about him, he's probably, because of his background and what he's done in the NFL, he's in the Hall of Fame, all those things, he has more game time NFL credentials than any coach in the history of college coaching. So the security for him is, he ain't worried about nothing. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to roll the dice. You can fire me if you want, but I'm going to do it my way. And a lot of coaches most coaches can't do it that way, Right. And so you ain't talked this much about Colorado football since Rashawn Salam won the Heisman Trophy 30 years ago.
Yeah, I think Bill McCartney was the coach at that time.
Bill McCartney, yep, and who was the quarterback? I always forget his name.
Cordell Stewart.
Cordell Stewart. Yeah, that's the last time we talked about the Colorado Buffaloes.
Right.
So.
Right. All right, we're going to get to our last story, Mike. I definitely had to I'm glad you were able to show up today because I want to get your take on this. I don't know if you've heard about this, but Big George Foreman story. It hit theaters yesterday. Two-time heavyweight champion George Foreman's story is on the big screens. A Hollywood biopic was released on yesterday. Foreman is the executive producer of the film, and it was directed by George Tillman Jr. The biopic tells Foreman's story growing up in poverty. He had a bad temper, who would eventually turn to boxing, and obviously his most iconic fight was the October 1974, the Rumble in the Jungle versus Muhammad Ali. So his film is in the big screens now. The biopic stars Chris Davis as George Foreman. Forrest Whitaker plays Doc Broadus, Foreman's trainer, and Sullivan Jones plays Muhammad Ali. Mike, tell me your thoughts. You gonna go check it out?
You know I am, man. You know this, man. You know what? I've only met Big George once, and that's when I was here the first time. I was at some dinner in Longview, and he was the guest. And I've said there's an actress there too. So there was me at this table, the actress, and George. Mm-hmm. And I said, so, and he has repeated this line forever, but the first time I heard it was here at that day. I said, so when did you know you was in trouble with Ali? He said, man, I was giving him my best stuff. And he said, is that all you got, George?
Yeah.
And he said, I thought to myself, well, yeah, I ain't got nothing else. And he had told that story off and on now. So when I hear it, I think about him telling the table that we were at that same story. I love this guy. I mean, he was a menace, man. He was, right. For those who don't know, George was, they didn't want Ali to fight George. They did not want him to fight George, but Ali's going to be Ali. But no, I just think he was so good for boxing. And then when he did come back, he beat that. Who was it? He beat that 29-year-old Moore.
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore. I'm like, oh my God, And so no, he's got a hell of a story to tell, man. I mean, now the guy. I mean, most people, young people, born after what 2000.
Yeah, they don't even know him. Yeah, they don't know him as a boxer.
All they know is the grill.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I did a story. I did a story with a young lady in Longview. Her grandfather, who she never met, but her grandfather boxed on the Olympic boxing team with George Foreman.
Oh wow!
And you should see the scrapbooks, Kendrick, because they're pristine. It's not faded or anything. This boxer though would die at the age before he was 30. And her father, his son, was like 3 years old when his father died. But her father always told her about your grandfather was a pretty good boxer, and he boxed with George Foreman. ... That when he gave her the scrapbook, I said, "When did you put together?" She said, "I just knew about George as the grill." I said, "When did you put together who he was?" She said, "Well, my father kept telling me about him, and then I read something about him." I said, "Wait a minute, this is the guy my father's been talking about." So when a young person can discover that history on their own like that, there's so much more reverence towards that individual. And so now she's a big boxing fan just because her grandfather boxed and who he boxed with. And she showed me, and I use it in our story, an email that her father got from George, who was pumping up her grandfather. He was a heck of a fighter. That kind of thing, great teammate, that kind of stuff, and made it really personal. So George is a bad boy, man. He's just a good dude.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Big George was born in East Texas, Marshall, Texas. But he pretty much grew up in Houston, I believe.
And then doesn't Forrest Whitaker have a East Texas background?
I think he had Longview, if I'm not mistaken.
Longview, yeah. So right. Man, they everywhere.
Man, it's East Texas it's always a connection to East Texas, some kind of way. Always. So so I definitely want to talk about that, get that on the show. So Mike, let's get down real quick. Let's get some final thoughts, man. What's your final thoughts before we get out of here?
I'd like to see Memphis and the Kings. Well, I know we're shifting gears here.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah,
to step up. Don't talk about it. Be about it. I know the Grizzlies got killed last night.
Yeah, they got mollywhopped last night. They going home. Yeah,
they're going. So we'll see what happens there. But the NBA's here. I mean, and I can't wait to see this Jimmy Butler New York Knicks matchup. I know it's the Heat, but Jimmy Butler. This is Jimmy time.
Another East Texas connection. If y'all
another East Texas connection.
Went to Tyler Junior College.
There you go. Yeah. We telling y'all this is what's going on out here.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that series. And the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks are kind of like the Cowboys. But the Cowboys they got a slew of championships. With all this talk of the Knicks, you'd have thought they had at least 6 or 7 championships. They only got 1.
Right.
And so that's what big fellow who passed away not long ago, Willis Reed,
Willis Reed,
yeah. So that's going to be a good series. I'm really disappointed. I had Milwaukee in the finals. Against the Suns.
I did too. Yeah, that was matchup. I'm feeling some type of way right now.
I know.
We got it was the Bucks was somewhat exposed.
Giannis was hurt,
but that's why they get paid the big bucks. The Heat, they came ready. Jimmy Butler just he took that team on his back and he willed that team to a win.
Always does. The postseason, he always does, man. So that's going to be a good series. It's been a good, and the Western Conference games have been pretty good too.
Right.
We'll see how Memphis responds the next time out.
Memphis ain't got to respond no more. Memphis, that's a wrap.
Memphis
gone. Yeah, that was it.
No, okay. Golden State. Yeah. I'm thinking Golden State and the Kings.
Golden State.
That's now 3-2, right? That's 3-2. That's what I'm thinking.
No, is it 3-3, Mike? Yeah, the game
Okay.
7 is Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
So
See, I've been in this football draft stuff. I'm getting my news
right.
from you. So no. So
Yeah.
it's been a good postseason. And you know what? I, I, I'm I'm I I'm a LeBron fan, but I'm not an over crazy. That's my guy. I'm a LeBron fan. But I like the way he's held up in this series, man. He's really done he's LeBron, and I know that. But I wondered, can he be this way the whole series? So far, he has been, and he's letting the other guys get some of
Right.
that love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Austin Reeves to me has been one of probably the
Yeah.
unsung. That young fella been giving them the
And
business.
how about that 9-point surge that D'Angelo Russell had nights ago?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he couldn't
Yeah.
for that span. He was the
Yeah,
offense. You know.
he was the offense. So so we knew that actually Denver and Phoenix series kicks off today, if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken.
Only
It kicks
game of
off
the day, I
today.
believe. Only NBA game of the day.
The only NBA game of the day. So I'm gonna probably kind of check out a little bit more of this draft, Mike, and see what else is happening. We got USFL, I think, got a game today.
Yeah, and
Keep
keep in mind, there are about at least 5 more East Texans connections that could get drafted.
Okay.
3 of them went to Kilgore College. Jadarian Taylor out of UTEP, who's from Lufkin.
Right? Okay,
he's from Lufkin. And then there's a cornerback at Charlotte University that Coach Gooden of Kilgore told me about. His name is Giovanni Howard.
Okay.
Omar Manning, a wide receiver at Nebraska. So that's 3. And there's one more I'm missing. But so there's gonna still possibility be some East Texas guys get grabbed up today.
Okay, Mike. Well, I'm gonna let you get out of here before you go, though. Tell them how they can follow you.
M Coleman 4908 on Twitter at M Coleman 4908. When I get it right, my Facebook page is Michael Coleman. I gotta work on that. And then there's Twitter at M Coleman 4. And congratulations on those followers you got, man, because I know you've been grinding, and I'm seeing your progress. And I'm real proud of you. And for those of y'all, if y'all ain't subscribed, subscribe. I ain't got to subscribe. I just give him a call and ask him what's going on. I got his number. Y'all ain't got his number. I got his number.
Yeah, that's my brother. That's my brother from another mother. But anyway, thanks, Mike. Appreciate you coming on, man. We're gonna have to do this again. I'll holler at you, see what the schedule's like.
Okay.
All right, brother. All right, we out. All right, guys. That's been a wrap for today. TFG Sports Show. I'm your host, Kendrick. Make sure you come here every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, noon Eastern Standard Time, where we're giving it to you straight with no chaser. I hope you guys enjoyed the show with me and Michael Coleman. I'm about to get out of here. And my granddaughter over here trying to distract me, but I'm about to get out of here. Let me go find my outro so I can get outro hair. How about that? So you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We'll see you again back here next Saturday. I'm Kendrick. I'm out. Peace.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like, whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like, whoa. I hit recorded, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in